Like I did yesterday, I'm going to ask basically comments to be held basically to the end. We've got some things we've got to discuss and we'll go from there. Sort of got out of hand yesterday. It's not going to happen tonight. We're actually, I don't want to be a butt, but I will if I have to. If it gets crazy, I'll ask, like I said, ask somebody to leave. If not, we've got two guys out here that will gladly help you out. This thing is more important than just jabbering, so we're not going to do that. We're actually going to take it and do like we're supposed to do, hopefully, and get this thing organized and keep this hospital open. I think we're all in agreement on that last night. That's what we all agreed that what we're here to do. That's what our plan is. It's not an easy thing. It got this shape. It didn't happen since yesterday. It's been going on for a while, and there's so many different things. We all want to point fingers. There's no one person caused this. So we've been handed down a lot of stuff through the years. It's frustrating because every time we think we might have it licked, it doesn't go that way. So I know we hang in here for whatever reason. It ain't for pay or nothing like that. And I can speak, I think, for everybody on this board. We want the thing to open and stay open and function. And that's our goal. We've just got to somehow come together as one unit and do what needs to be done in order to keep it open, keep a service, keep jobs, keep everything. Basically, we just need it. We've got to have it. And I'm not going to lie, it's not looking very well right now. But in the meantime, as Jack said earlier, we might be in critical condition, but we're not dead yet. And we're just all hard-headed enough not to quit. So we're going to keep trying to do what we can do. That's on my opinion. And everybody else can speak for themselves. But I hope everybody's doing that same thing. So, with that said, I'm going to ask Ronnie to lead us in prayer again, please.
Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for this day, for the hour, Lord, that we've gathered this way, and we thank you for each and every one that's gathered here. We pray, God, that we do that which will be pleasing unto you and for the betterment of this hospital. We pray, Lord, that you forgive us of our many sins and shortcomings in life. And we'll be careful to give you the praise and the glory and the honor for it all. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, roll call, please, I guess. I guess you do that, Miss B.
Jack?
Yeah, here.
Randy? Doug?
Here.
Ron?
Here.
Frank?
Here.
And Mitchell?
Here.
We have the minutes.
That's paperwork from the last meeting, then that'll catch up on what.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda will be the minutes. I guess let's see what they were from April 26th. Do you want to read them? There's not that many. If you want to do that, that'd be great.
The meeting was called to order at 6:40 p.m. by Chairman Doug Collins and Ron O'Neill had the prayer. Those that were in attendance were Doug Collins, Jack Collins, Beatrice Talent, Ron O'Neill, CEO Anna Clark, and Executive Assistant Karina Walker. Frank Shinhoff and Mitchell Hicks was absent. The minutes were read and approved with one correction. Ron O'Neill was not present at the meeting. Jack Collins made the motion and Randy Collins seconded the motion. A roll call was taken and was unanimous in favor. The motion carried. Old business, Ron O'Neill made a motion for the secretary to write a letter to the corporate board informing them that they were in default with their rent payment. The full payment of $100,000 should be paid in full as stated in the terms and conditions of the Copper Basin Medical Center extension of lease and management agreement. Randy Collins seconded the motion and the roll call was unanimous in favor and the motion carried. Old business, Chairman Collins gave a report that we should know something by October about the grant for the new roof, if it had been accepted or refused. Treasurer's report, Jim Paul reported that the bank statement is the same, copy attached. Administrative report, CEO Clark gave a report on trouble she is having with CSI. The company has told her that they are working on it, but nothing has happened. Clark reported that the financial figures that she had to present to them was incorrect, but she said she would do a report by hand for the next meeting and not use the CSI program. Chairman's report, Chairman Collins said he did not have a report. At 7:05, Randy Collins made a motion to adjourn and Jack Collins seconded the motion. The roll call vote was unanimous in favor, so the motion carried.
Does anybody have any problem with the minutes, or do I hear a motion having approve this red.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do I hear a second? Okay, roll call, please.
Jack,
Yes.
Randy, Doug,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
me, Frank,
Yes.
Mitchell.
Yes.
Okay, we'll now move on to old business, and, of course, she had another set of minutes here that sort of crossed. Well, we wasn't expecting to be doing this with you,
I didn't get it done last night.
yeah, but in the meantime, I think everything good. It was just on it, you had to look at the roof grant, discussed or whatever. I talked to Jennifer, our city planner, the other day, everything's still in the works as far as that goes, and, which I hadn't heard anything on it. It's one of those things we should know here by the end of summer, and, then again, it's according to how this thing goes, you know, if for some reason it don't go, then the grant money right now, well, where the district board is taking over, we've got to come up with 84,000 match, so that's gonna be a question in itself between now and then, so that's part of the major part of the roof grant. I don't think getting the grant's any problem, I'm pretty sure. I don't think I was talking to Hoyt today, I don't know that Ducktown's ever missed a CBDG grant, you know, which is a good thing. You know, we don't wanna start now, but hopefully, that was just on the other minutes that she had started before the board changed. Now we'll go on, let's just. We'll get the seat back down there for Corinne. Okay, moving on to new business. Sort of got them reversed, but Corinne, I'm just gonna go ahead and we'll start about amending the bylaws first, and I'll let either Corinne, I guess, if you want to explain that. As far as, we actually, when we took the corporate board back, we already had the corporate bylaws, but there's some things we've got to add to them in order to operate the hospital. So, can you explain what ones of those are?
Sure. The corporate board is responsible for making the final approvals for appointing medical staff, CEOs, CNOs, things like that. So in order for a business to continue with it being medical staff reappointment time, in the month of June, those bylaws are going to have to be amended where the district board can also have that power to, you know, carry forth appointing doctors and administrative staff.
And we have to have.
Do we need to add that to our bylaws? Is that what we need to do?
Right, yeah, that's
The
what-
existing bylaws?
The existing district bylaws.
Okay, then once, if we create or add to the bylaws, the district board's an open meeting. What do we need to do to be able to discuss what we need to discuss in a district board meeting as far as finances and things like that, non-medical? We can do that anyway.
We should be able to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's, you know, the problem with the PI and all the other stuff, as far as the nurses reports and all the doctors, that stuff we can't do both.
No, I can understand that, Mr.
I
Chairman.
don't know that we probably fine on the district for the financial
Mhm.
for the public, but the other stuff, we might wanna put that in the bylaws.
Well, what will our
Basically,
procedure
stuff
be
that-
on that, Mr. Chairman, to discuss HIPAA law, the medical part of it? There's things we need to fix.
Yeah, and there is, and that's where we gotta figure out and whether we can do that all right now, because if I'm understanding things, whatever we amend to these bylaws, we have 5 days before they actually go into effect, right? That way we all have a chance to read over them and look, and if we don't like something, we can tweak it and you know, make it so. We've got, if we wanna put the basic stuff down, we've got 5 days to try to work it out before we can. You know.
So say we make a decision tonight on amending the bylaws, we've got 5 days, we look at it, make sure it works, tweak it, whatever, and then it takes effect, is that right?
Yeah, from my understanding.
So what do we need to change, I mean, as far as this?
I would just make the addition that, you know, the district board would be able to had the same duties as the corporate board in respect to appointing medical staff and CEO,
Now, there's
CNO.
already a clause in the district to cover the administrator.
Okay, well
We don't
then,
need to change that.
well then the medical staff needs to be added, cause you don't wanna.
I make a motion to add, Mr. Chairman.
Well, and what else, Corinna, there was a couple other things too. What I said, I just had her to dig through everything while we're doing this, everything that might affect us, so we can't think of everything. I know there's some other stuff that we probably need to do, but can we do that in this? Well, you don't want to add anything 5 days from now, we're gonna.
Right, I mean, I would just put it into play that it's up for discussion for a minute and then you have 5 days, but I would consult a lawyer to make sure that the bylaws are in accordance with your attorney general for your nonprofit organization rules. And you're also gonna have to make sure your bylaws are up to standard with joint commission as far as that goes, because joint commission does regulate governing body bylaws. So I would recommend letting a lawyer look over them and approve them.
What
prior.
we make a motion to
What we got
do,
before
let
we-
them approve.
Yes.
Before we add
Yes.
anything.
Okay, I got it.
Mr.
So-
Chairman,
You withdraw your motion?
The attorney last night made mention of that, so he was talking, you have to go through all that.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing, and I hadn't talked to her today, I sort of just left him alone, but, I'm sure he would, I mean, so far he's fine with doing that. There comes a point in time though, right now, I mean, the city of Ducktown paid him, and we're paying him because we need the information, but there's gonna come a point where we probably won't be willing to do it all. You know, whether the county step in, of course, I know if we had money like we hope, it wouldn't be a problem, we could do it through the district. But he's willing to help us, and if it got into something major, we'd probably have to go out for somebody else. And, but he's pretty good on it, and I trust his advice or whatever, so. But I can have him get through that, get that to him tomorrow, and I'll get, he should already have the bylaws, right? I got those to him. What else did he, there was a couple other things that he was gonna look over too.
Charter,
Did he not have a copy of the charter?
charter lease bylaws. Probably did.
He pulled up most of all that.
I got a problem. My granddaughter is just 23 weeks, and she's dilating and her water's broke. She's in her langer.
Son, you better.
On the way to her langer, yeah. Brittany,
I didn't realize it. Well,
she's been having trouble, but I
son, this is not important, Jack, 'cause like I said last night, there's times and place that family's more
just
important.
got the email, or the text from my wife. My wife's waiting on me.
Well, you better go take care of her if nothing else. I mean, we've been saying a prayer for her, 'cause that's not something that none of us want to do.
Yeah.
The bond picking you up?
No, I'm gonna meet her.
Oh, okay.
So your motion, you have.
I guess I make a motion to approve the changes to the district bylaws that
Jack,
Karina has recommended.
That's not in order now.
can I make this motion that we have the attorney
Yeah, after.
to tell
Well, I'll
what we need
amend.
to put in the bylaws?
You what now?
To have the attorney to look over this and
After we
tell
do
us
this.
what we have to put in it.
Well, let's
Word-
just
word
table
bylaw.
everything we do it then. Right?
Till well, we gotta make a motion to have the attorney to look over the bylaws, to tell us what we gotta put in our new bylaws.
To cover the new, I make a motion to allow the attorney to examine the existing District 4 bylaws to see what we need to do to be in compliance,
Right.
to operate as an open meeting, releasing all information except HIPAA.
Let's see.
My motion stands. I apologize, but I have got to go. Thank you.
Did we get a second on that one?
Yeah.
Okay. You want a roll call, please?
Mhm.
Jack, I'm sure you made the motion, it's a yes.
Okay. Jack? He's not here. Randy? Doug?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Me? Yes. Frank?
Yes.
Mitchell.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, tell me about this HIPAA that we keep, I know what it is, you can't give out my private information to people as a doctor, but how does, can you briefly tell me what that is that we avoid talking about?
We have a report that we have to give every month, and it gives data regarding patients and things like that. So that's something that you have to have in a closed meeting. So that's the situation there.
I would imagine even personnel matters would be in an executive session type thing, you know, you don't wanna.
Yeah, that's what she was mentioning, like medical staff, that's
Okay.
another, yeah.
So how will we, hopefully where we just go there and get him to figure out what we need, and hopefully he'll word everything and get everything what it's supposed to be. Will we need to turn yours over to the powers that be to get approved, or will you do that?
He would make the recommendation as to what gets in there, but the district board has the sole power to amend your bylaws. And it has to be more than a majority vote. It's actually a 5-person vote to amend the bylaws.
So that pretty much need. I'm gonna skip on down and come back to this other here at the last, but it might, I probably might not, we can't do, what do we, let's take it off then, let's do it. What about that? Yeah, we're not to that point yet, that's part of the bylaw, right? Okay. Second thing to put on the agenda was the yard discussion, just because of what happened last night. It was sort of a messed up time. It really wasn't part of the meeting, but it ended up being a part of the meeting stuff, so. Anybody on the board got any question or discussion on that, or how do you feel, or what do we need to talk about on it? I just put it on there.
What's that on?
ER,
What are we discussing about?
well, I figured Dr. Siddiqui never be here, since the way things went last night, I figured that's just what I had figured. I didn't know what was going on as far as that goes. Thought we'd figure out where it's at or what's going on with it, I guess, but they're not here, so I guess we're just,
Well, I think we should work on a contract with Dr. Siddiqui.
well, I don't, you never had one, and when we done that last time, we bid it out, so I'd say that the whole process that we'd probably have to go through before we just randomly take him one out, and then there's some things that involve him in that, as far as Medicare, that I'm not sure that, you know, I'm pretty sure that we could get in trouble on, so that's some stuff, it's one of those calls we need to call and make, but if we do, it could be detrimental to the hospital. If you call and ask the question, because then it opens.
In our district board bylaws, the CEO or the administrator has full power over all that.
But she still would, or he, whoever be that, would have to, I mean, you'd want them
Yeah,
to bid
go
it
out
out.
and get bids on, yeah.
Do we have a limit on what kind of contracts to be? You know what I mean? Do we need to, what I'm saying, I know we have a limit in town of what even I can go into, you know, without the board's approval, so I didn't know how, I don't know how that would work. So Anna, as of right now, she has the power to contract or not contract, or without the board approval, is that what you're saying?
Right.
Well, I mean, I think my actions spoke pretty loud when I didn't pay them. And I'll take this back now that I can speak a little bit. This started last week when Ruth, the manager at Dr. Siddiqui's office, called to let me know that she actually called my assistant Karina, and let Karina know that she was gonna add a new doctor on their schedule to be in the ER. That's fine, but we have to have them credentialed and ready to go, and this doctor hadn't returned any of that stuff. And I told her a month ago, you need to call him, he hadn't called us back, and he hadn't returned the package. And So, but her comment to Karina was, I'm gonna put him on the schedule, because I have doctors going on vacation, and I know he's not credentialed, but the talk about one mad CEO, I called, and I told her he would not be on the schedule in our ER. She should have called him a month ago and got this straightened out. He's not my employee, he's her employee. Me running him down is not my problem. And so that's where that started. And then, in the same week, I'm writing off about $43,000 just in ER claims, just in ER claims. And it goes back to this non-emergent policy that we passed back in April. That's been brought up for discussion time and time again in medical staff. And Dr. Siddiqui and the corporate board, the medical staff and the corporate board both passed that policy. So in this entire hospital, he's the only person that voted for it twice. And he's the only person that didn't comply with it. It's just stuff like that. Why would you do business with somebody you can't trust? Why would you keep paying a mechanic to tear your car up? And when it comes down to paying these people who do their job versus paying them, which were overpaid by were overcharged, I'm gonna pay my people here. And not once has he contacted me to ask, hey, what do we need to do to work out something so we can get paid? Because he doesn't want to work out. He doesn't want to comply. He sit right here and said last night that those policies, we shouldn't be going by them. But yet he approved them. So right there's a problem. It doesn't take a scientist to figure out you don't do business with somebody that's going to try and cheat you. So my recommendation is we bid it out to some other groups.
We have to look into it, because I know 2 years ago, whatever, when we went through that bid process, we found it $400,000 a year cheaper than. That's crazy. We need money. How can you just pay somebody because you want to pay them? I mean, it's honestly right now we don't have enough come through the ER, in my opinion, to even cover the cost that we're paying him. So, but I'm just a person on the outside looking in, but I do hear a lot. I hear too much really, but in the meantime, I try to watch and see, so, because you can't believe everything you hear. And I have learned that through the year, but it's vital to this hospital, but if it's not been utilized and as good as they want to see everybody that comes in there, everything's happy, everybody that comes through that door is not happy. You know, I know for a fact there's some people that definitely don't come through there happy. So, and us being a public hospital, we can't turn anybody away. You know, we have people come from Cleveland, and he said in time past, the guy, and he does, he has people come from Cleveland up here, but when they come up, we find out that they don't have insurance, so we get to eat that. So, what good is having somebody in here if we want to help them, but in the meantime, we can't do that for free. I don't know anybody in here that's going to do anything like that for free. So, it's like us, we sort of met with some of the managers early, and it's just, there's changes, and we've said it, we've talked this, and we've had these meetings for years now. We talk change, but nothing ever changes. We end up right back at the same spot. Just like Jack said last night, start pointing fingers here and there and everything, and round and around, and just like just for Dr. Siddiqui last night when he started, he said, well, the vision, it started in the front office, where then it was in the billing, then it was in this. He spearheaded every one of those fights. We've got the billing company here tonight that was blasted last night. Thing with these girls, whenever that come up, he was all about it. He voted for it. We all voted. And just like with Alicia there, Anna didn't fire her because Anna just wanted to fire her. Anna done that because the board told Anna to do that. And pretty much everybody on the board voted to do that. So when you start just saying one person done it, I know she's had to fire one or two possibly. Recall maybe ER or something to do with HIPAA that just, it was an automatic, get your honey out of here. But as far as her personally looking at anybody saying, I'm just getting rid of here, no, I know that. We pretty much, the board, for the most part, has approved everybody that she got rid of. So, I hate to break your heart, Alicia, but the same guy that you're backing was one that was voting to get rid of you too. I mean, that's the sad part about it, you know.
I'm not backing nobody but this hospital, so.
But you know, but that's what I'm just saying, so, last night he was just, he's singing your praise, but then again, it wasn't that way. And I hate that. And that's what's wrong with us now, it's not. Everybody, they talk great, they talk about loving this hospital, doing whatever it takes, but then in the meantime, we're sitting here doing the same freaking thing. I feel like I've been in these meetings, it seemed like the same meeting, I could have just put a recorder down and it's the same thing over and over. It gets frustrating, it gets old. But there's definitely gonna have to be some major changes on this thing. Otherwise, honest to God, and I don't want nobody to lose a job, don't want this thing to close. But I just don't see how it can keep going without some continuity, and right now, we don't have it. I know we've got 3 doctors that are all on board and doing everything they're supposed to do. They're doing their charts on time, doing everything that's supposed to be done. I have one that was doing great, but because he works under another one, he has to do what boss tells him, so he got behind on some. So, have we ever got those charts back?
No.
Does he still see, they picked them up, what, last Friday? And $211,000 worth of
269.
$269 that's laying on the table that we could build. But because they hadn't signed off on them, we're not getting no money. And that's another sort of a way of being held hostage, and that's not good business. I don't care who you are, and it's not a personal thing. I mean, if you really care about this thing, you'll do whatever you've got to do. And to say he don't benefit from it, and I don't mind that. I mean, we get, a lot of us benefit, but monetarily, he benefits more than, how many people in here live in $1 million home? Seriously, exactly. That home being paid for through this hospital. I'm glad for him, but in the meantime, he acts like we owe him everything. And there's people, like I said, we had one of our managers tell us the time that we had to borrow money from Mr. O'Neill to make payroll, that there's a single mom here. Wasn't getting paid. Anna pulled out her checkbook and was writing her a check out of her personal account. How many freaking people's gonna do that? Really? How many people's gonna loan us $130,000? He don't do it no more. You know why? Told him not to. That's his family's money he worked his life for. Would it be right for him to lose it? But he does care about this place, whether you think it or not, enough to try to help us making another check, making these people working. You might not realize it, but that guy right there helps you more than you'll ever know. Yeah, he don't have to. But then, you don't see him out here patting himself on the back, singing praises of what I've done. We don't never get to have a meeting what the other one don't get to talk about. 23 years of being here, this is what I've done, all that. I do know that. I appreciate that. I think he's probably one of the best doctors we got on the hill. He's my dad and mom's doctor. Great with him. He has brought between the good Lord and his help, he has brought Dad back from death's bed. Never thought he would get up and move, but he did. I just wished he would be the doctor that he could be, rather than trying to, I don't understand. I hadn't really got to sit down and just talk with him. I would like to. Maybe I would understand more. But just from my side outside looking in, I don't see the help, and I just see this thing going in the hole more and more every month. And we were talking earlier, I think me and Greg, he called and wondered what happened with the district board, but if we, say Doug Collins hit the lottery, come over and pay this baby off, and we're on a level kill right now, that'd be great. But you know where we'll be in a month at the rate we're going? Already $150,000 in the hole, because we don't have the people in this thing to do. So how long does it take to get $1 million in debt at that rate? Not too long. So it's not an easy fix, and it's not going to be an easy fix, but it's truly going to take people. The politics need to be plumb out of it. It needs to be down to the nitty gritty that, I guess we're all on the same page. And if it's go to another group, man, we've got to look at all of our options. Otherwise, everybody that sees me on the street is going to be saying, there's that SOB that shut the hospital down. Well, I hadn't. It's not gonna be me. But the reason we took the board back last night, because regardless of what happened, the corporate board, if it had went under, we get it. And then we've got to make that decision of sell it, burn it, whatever we gotta do. So we felt like we needed to get it back while there was some wheels under it and hopefully try to save it. We've made it all these years. I'd like to make it a few more. I'd like to make it a lot more, but there's definitely things that's got to be done differently. So we voted last meeting before last, whatever, to actually look around and talk and see what our options are. I've asked everybody on the board what their opinion, and like I said, we had everything from bankruptcy to whatever to try to come up with an ideal, but in the end, we should call different places, facilities, see if anybody wants to partner up with us or whatever we gotta do in order to make this thing work. Well, it sounded good at that time, but now that that possibility's here, I'm done hearing, oh no. Well, we've done proved it, we can't do it by ourselves. There's no way, there's not a hospital in this country, the small hospital rural anymore, that's doing it by themselves, so. We're gonna make a charge and try to see what the heck we can come up with and fill out our options. In the meantime, we're gonna run it day to day, and hopefully you guys can get paid and we can keep this thing open. But as far as our billing, they've come all the way up from Cleveland tonight, and I felt like they needed to be here to defend themselves, because it's not fun to get run down when you're not here. And they were, I'm tired of the same guy that wanted to do this, now he's trying to turn them down, and they work hard. And I'm tired of hearing them say they never had a hospital, they never done billing for a hospital. Bull crap. Those girls right there, especially Lisa's, what, 25 years? 26 years that you've been doing this, they're not dumb. They're not where they're at by not doing their job right. So they've worked hard. They've actually, well, I know they went out on a limb. They invested some of their own money just in order to try to keep us going and take care of us. And I hope it's getting somewhat better. If it wasn't for the,
We're gonna get there. We're
and
gonna get
been 6 months, and we had a whole month of January that was definitely a setback.
One of the things that I would like to say is right now we've got 1.8 million on the books. Those charges that are still being held would sure help this month if we could get those put on. That's a lot of money.
Right.
Last month, I think we closed out at 2.3. There's no way that we can get in the type of money you guys are needing a month on 2.3 million
No.
in charges. There's no way. From what I've added up, we need close to 4 million a month to be able to get approximately what you guys need. I haven't seen nowhere near that. I said 1 month of 3.1 million, I think. That's
You-
it.
You probably won't, especially coming into this summer. You know, this is the slow season, so we can not even start hoping that that's gonna happen.
It's very difficult on our end to try to pull something out of something that's not there. And we could do this if it's there. There's no doubt in my mind. We've got the staff to do it, and we've got the knowledge to do
And
it.
you're doing it.
We will do it.
Yeah, and you are doing it, so.
And I would like to say, Lisa, if you've got anything you'd like to say to me and Brandy, we're here.
I don't appreciate y'all coming, speaking about being not able to defend yourself. The board meeting that followed the board meeting after,
After
the
you
board
put
meeting
in
that
our
I got to
list.
come, the board wouldn't hear what I had to say to defend myself.
And then you called and asked, and I said, if you get a hold of everybody else, I mean, I don't have, of course, I wasn't chairman of it, so I couldn't really call that, so. But in the meantime.
Well, everybody I talked to said that they would, so,
But nobody,
and nobody put it on the agenda.
No, it was voted on. They talked about it in here and they all said, no, we don't wanna talk to her.
I would just like to say that a lot of this stuff you have on the books that you were counting for payment, we are actually adjusting right now because it was older stuff.
Yeah.
I am digging every day and writing stuff off that's been sitting on those books since 2012, 13, and 14. It's never been touched. It's not had feedback. No insurance companies have been called in a year to 2 years on some of those claims. As I adjust them, I pull off notes so nobody can question my adjusting. I never want you guys to feel like I'm writing off balances for the wrong reasons. Your money's going down and it looks like you should be getting receipts in, but that's me cleaning up. My girls are coming to me every day. I have told them, our matters do not lie on 2012 and 13 claims anymore. We're going towards the new stuff. We got improvement for that in the last meeting. when we say non-emergent, when Anna's talking about non-emergent, it's not one insurance company that we're dealing with. Blue Care is phenomenal for it, but we have Medicare Advantage plans that do not want to pay for non-emergent. I have physicians from everywhere sending lab orders over. Those aren't getting paid. None of them. That's come back on Medicare. We got 46 claims, $67,000 in labs that came back just today from Medicare. That's where our money's at. So you have everybody sending up for labs, and all of a sudden it isn't paying anymore.
So they-
We have one issue after another. I have 2 contracts right now that made a change at the beginning of this year. After chasing and chasing and chasing, I finally got a May bulletin telling me that this went into effect in February. That was with the Medicaid, North Carolina Medicaid. We chased and talked about last month. I just got that, sent it to Ann, I think yesterday. This has been in effect for 3 months, and we've not gotten payment on it. So once again, we're in a position, you expect us to get you payment. I can't do that.
And another thing, correct me if I'm wrong, you gotta do none of the coding, right?
I'm not allowed to do any of the coding. I do only, Anna didn't know I was doing this to begin with, but I was catching it before it went out the door.
Right.
Since the last meeting, I have sent several emails to Alana and Anna, and we have worked very tight, trying to make sure that some screening codes that were being adjusted left and right are being removed. We were screening for lipids and prostates 3 and 4 times a year. Medicare allows a prostate once a year and a lipid every 5. We were doing repetitive. This patient had chronic diagnosis, but when the physicians were ordering the lab, they weren't giving a chronic diagnosis. They were screening, writing it off every time.
That's where the education needs to come in that we talked about last time we were in here. It's almost like there's no teamwork here. There's no effort, for the doctors at the ER somebody is not teaching them. And I know Anna sends this stuff over when we send it to her, and Alana does also.
You have a
But
wonderful
something
billing
has to
staff.
change.
And they're very cooperative with it. They want to make sure that if they've done something wrong, they don't do it again. They don't bite at the bullet. I mean, they bite the bullet to fix it, but they don't give me a lot of negative feedback. They need trained. Those ER docs need some training. This
Well,
non-emergent stuff is,
But they've gotta be willing to want to
Yeah.
change. They know what to do.
Yes,
They
it's
know
mandatory at
what-
this point though, because Brandy can come in and do this training. She's sitting there dealing with these claims every day. She sees what's paying and what's not. This is something we'll come up here and gladly do, whether it be once a week or whatever.
what's disturbing is it's the wording a lot of times. It's just the diagnosis they pick, that they've documented a different diagnosis, but they've told the girls in billing to bill something a little bit more, and if they had just combined all their facts to what it should have been, it would have paid it. It's sickening to pull up charges and you billed out $5,000 or $6,000 and you receive $20 or $30 on the entire charges and payment.
Explain that when you got, a couple of weeks ago, you called in and the ER it's over $6,000, we ended up getting $50 because.
Oh no, it's 25 or 29. Blue Care will,
It wasn't any money.
yeah, if you were
compared to what we
getting a
should
third
have
of your
got.
payment, yes.
Yeah, and
Actually,
that's
what was
common.
that I sent? Was it,
Well, have the doctors refused?
I haven't
you
got
heard-
feedback from the physicians, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You heard them last night, but they pretty much, they don't, and the thing about it, they passed it to do it and they're not wanting to do it, so.
It's critical. You've got to have somebody that's on the board to educate this right now. If they can't take this education, then
It's obvious, it's been going on for years. Police called up now. There's no way of pulling this out if something doesn't change.
it actually got shifted to us because this new emergent diagnosis came about the same time we did. It all started falling into effect, so it kind of looked like it was us when it came here. We don't have control over that.
Exactly.
The state of Tennessee is just tired of paying for every patient that's in the ER for no needed diagnosis. When there's urgent cares that are open every day, they're messing with the payments for the teen care. I have urgent cares that are open and seeing the patients on the weekends and changing their PCP. Well, when my child goes back to their pediatrician on Monday, their claims are denied because they've moved that PCP. And that's happening around here everywhere. So this teen care is in a bad position right now too, and it's hurting you, and it's a lot of triage. Triage has really got to be stepped up, and I've said that when I'm blue in the face. If we don't triage these patients and get them back out the door, instead of working them up and giving them eye shots and labs and x-rays and CTs, $27.
It looks good, but we're not getting anything.
It doesn't look good on me when you want the reimbursement,
No,
I
I'm
can't
talking
get it.
about from out here, but we're hospital's busy, we're big, but it may be busy, but if we're not getting paid for it, that's not any good. And it's happened for a long time.
I don't know that they understand, you've got to be.
List and said, stay on this list. If you can, I'm not asking you to diagnose them with something they don't have. I'm asking you if it pertains, get to this point of diagnosing. And most of them, I mean, we're doing x-rays, CTs of chest for a virus or for a rhino, does not pertain to the testing.
So, there is definitely a lot of problems, and like I said, we can all even agree here on the board, but if the doctors don't get board with us, it's not gonna happen. When I was in the manager's meeting a while ago, I talked to one of the guys that definitely, he's worked with a lot of different hospitals, and I told him, tell me if I'm wrong, but when you look at it, at most hospitals, I don't care if it's a small hospital, large hospital, there's always that. Very seldom do you see where the doctors and the administration's on the same page. Doctors think they know it all, administration thinks they know it all, and it's a hard, happy medium for them to get into, and that's sort of where it is here. And we've had administrators, like B was talking to, we can't remember how many since we've been involved, but it's been too many. Changing every week, every month, every year, it doesn't fix it, because sometimes you get one a little worse, then you go back, and we've had that happen. So I wished I could snap my finger and it'd be fine, everybody go out of here and everybody happy and this thing great, but it's not that easy. It's not gonna happen that easy. It didn't, most things, but I do believe we can save it, but it's definitely gonna have to take some all-out effort on everybody's part, and everybody has their opinion. And honestly, I try not to talk to anybody till I get to these meetings, and a lot of people may think, well, we don't know what's going on. Well, I don't wanna feel like I'm one of these out here trying to gather up the troops behind the scene before I get here so everything goes my way. So I don't reckon I'm on anybody's team here. I'm here on the hospital's team, and if everybody work and we can be on the same page, that's what I would like to do. But we've talked it and talked it. It would probably give me a heart attack if we actually did. I don't know. But right now, I hope I'm not here, because I don't want to go down there, because they would probably send me on down the road. Hopefully not, but that's the sad thing about it. I tell people every day, I love small town because I know everybody. I hate small town because I freaking know everybody. And growing up, you know them, they'll like you. My biggest thing in town, when I tell somebody know her, I'm sorry, I can't. I went from up here to the worst thing on earth, same difference gonna be right here. It bothers me, but I'm getting to where I really don't care what people think about me anymore. You do what you gotta do. I don't see a lot of people. Matter of fact, the last few board members, we've had a knockdown drag out just to get anybody, because when I called Greg back today, I said, first thing I gotta do, I said, if I resign tonight, will you take my spot? What'd you say, Greg?
No thanks.
No. People not wanting this seat right now. Nobody wants to come on this board, and when you do get here, a lot of times it's, oh my God, I have no idea what's going on, and you don't unless you're on the inside. So I appreciate everybody's just willing to even be here, because we all think or cross our mind every day, golly days, what am I doing? But I do know that we all want the thing to open. We just got to figure out how we can work together and leave here as friends and can keep it open. But it causes some friction sometimes, and it's tough when you're on this board to even come over here and visit family, because I know most of these folks that work down through here, and they want to know what's going on, and I understand that, because they're scared about their job. How many folks do we have here that's single mom? I'll see one already that works in this hospital that rely on this money to help feed their kids, clothe them, and get them to school and everything else. Some may have some child support, but there's some that don't. And yes, I think that's one that Ann was probably going to write a check for, just because it's sad, isn't it? They
Well,
got
it's
to
not
have
just
it.
me, we had other people.
Well, they do.
who
They
wanna-
do.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're pitching in as a team.
But same
Together.
difference, just because you look there, nobody wants to see that, so. I don't know, I think we've got some places we've got to go talk to hopefully and see how things are going. There might not be a fit out here for us, who knows, but then there might. But then again, that's when it comes down to, from the county standpoint and the cities, we're all gonna be on the hook for some money if this thing don't go. And I don't wanna have to pay more taxes. And if you live in the city, you're gonna have to pay more county and city tax. So it's gonna hit people in the cities worse. And then like Kathy, Forest Copper Hill right now, you just can't take no more, can you, say? You know, and we don't want to do that. And we definitely got to keep it. As long as the payments are being made, this thing's open, we can take care of the people that has a stake in this thing. And everybody in the county has a stake in it. If you live here, use this hospital, it's yours. So we definitely want to, you know, I don't want to ramble on. I just don't want to think, people thinking that we're here basically that we don't want this thing to work, but we do. It does get frustrating. I know as employees, you guys die because you don't know what's going on. That's not fun. I've been there. So we'd like to have job security, like to be able to get things going and give you a pay raise that you probably hadn't had in 15 years, but it's tough. Right now, you know, even the thought of pay cuts comes up, and don't do that. So what we have to do, how many we have to lay off for June?
It's about 12 right now.
Looking at possibility of 12 people being laid off for the first of the month. So that ain't something we like to do either. But it is a slow season right now. But Lisa and Brandy, I just want you to know that I appreciate what you guys do. I know you were handed a freaking crazy. I mean, well, we didn't know it. You guys didn't even know. I know you got Greg in the corner if you want to go over and keep him up.
I didn't want to look at it right now.
Things to say, but that was I mean, he was a big help at getting us there, and I think you've been a help. There's just a lot of things changing, and I hope we'll get it where it's supposed to be, and keep working, at least get yourself back on the level to where you broke even. If you have to go, you can go, and you know, we don't feel like we've ripped you or anything. So.
Well, we're definitely not ready to give up yet. This has been a challenge for us that I can honestly speak for. We have 16 employees, and I can speak for every one of them. They have a love for this hospital, just like we do. And it's important to all of us that we see this turnaround. It, not only for your community, but the surrounding communities. They need this hospital. It's very important.
Mm-hmm.
Your employees shed tears to get so do ours.
Exactly.
They've grown to where they want this to go. And I know it's been said over and over, we didn't have a lot of hospital experience. We did work some hospitals before. We just didn't have the problems that we have here. And my knowledge, along with my girls, has went from here.
Well, that's another thing. Whether this works or not, you have gained tremendous
Yes, sir.
experience to go on to
Yes,
the next
sir.
level.
Well, we want to help you guys to get to that next level too. It's very important to us. This is not only you guys, it's us too. We want to see it grow. And you have every right to see it grow and become something better. But again, and I do want to thank Anna because she has been great with the building girls, helping us with anything that we've needed. It's just hard when you don't have that help with the physicians to understand. We've got to change this. You are sending stuff to us that we cannot get paid. And it's not fair to bill these patients for some of this stuff that, you know, they walk into the hospital. They're going there to be treated, but it's not fair to sit and bill every one of them. Some of them need to be billed because they use you
They
guys.
abuse you.
They do. But how do you determine something like that?
Can you answer why the AR's climbed 2 million? It's not climbed. Misrepresentation once again from the numbers. Dr. Siddiqui's lack of knowledge when it comes to accounts receivable. When you look back in February, gross revenue that was put on was 2.6. We collected 3.7. March, gross revenue put on was 2.9. We collected 2.97 that month. April, we put on 2.6. We collected 2.9. So to say we're not collecting, he doesn't have a clue. Or he's just lying.
So what is the AR?
The AR total is like 6.9 million.
But you have to keep in mind, most of
look at what
it
is
is already written
collectible.
off.
0 to 120 days. And then you also, from that, there's a formula that you take for private pay, you don't even count all of that. 10% of the 0 to 30, 5% of the 31 to 60, 5% of the 61 to 90. So there's a little formula that you come to understand what is collectible.
But if we're writing off a whole lot, then it would already be going down.
We can't write it off. That's something that was discussed in our previous meeting. There's some issues with CPSI when some old accounts have certain codes on them that keep us from going in there and wiping out old stuff. That's why that old stuff been on there so long. So you focus on what's collectible as a way to determine, are we bringing in the money? And yes, we're bringing in the money.
Have the insurance contracts been worked?
Yes,
All of them?
they're not complete, just like anything else. Hard to get somebody to call you back.
Also,
Say
that
2
aging will
weeks.
show a
2 weeks,
$5,000, that aging will show a $5,000 claim, and it's actually sitting on there for a $30 lab. So that aging is looking, or that outstanding report's looking like you need to collect off that $5,000, the claim's been paid in full except for that $30, so then you run into those errors. So that aging is not a true net of numbers, and it never will be. Until it is completely worked and adjusted for old counts, it's never gonna be worked. You are spinning wheels. And I'd like to see somebody work a contract for an insurance company in 2 weeks.
So
It's
I did.
impossible.
It is not.
It is not possible at all.
I'm fixing stuff that you didn't complete today.
Greg, are you
Heather
still
Ball
working on
is her
any of
name,
those?
by the way.
So,
We'll get her name.
so Greg, he's actually been working on some of our insurance contracts, and he's gracious enough to do that. And I guess with his wife's blessings.
Vicki, you've done this before. How come can so many users work on these contracts?
I didn't do,
Yeah, for us, the DMV wasn't as
As
difficult,
far as
so you didn't have, they didn't allow us to do the pricing at all.
So you're
They
noticing
just
a
set the
change in
pricing.
doing this kind. It's
Right.
totally different.
Right.
So on this end, how has it been for you this time?
Oh, it's not easy. I mean, like Blue Cross Blue Shield, we've been dealing with them for 3 months, and they keep giving us the runaround.
That's
We've
constant.
sent
conflict.
letters, we've called. I mean,
It's just a wait game until they decide that they're going to take it on and deal with it.
It has to go before their board. It has to meet certain criteria. They don't just up and say, hey, thanks for sending this for 3 months in a row. We're gonna take your offer today. Let's go. No, they're gonna penny every little thing they can out of you, and you gotta come back and tell them what you're not gonna do. I mean,
That's what
it's
they
not
call
even as easy as a
negotiation.
provider's office. Yeah, this is a different ballgame than walking into a doctor's office and getting a credential from an insurance company. Your services are how you're paid, and that's how these doors stay open. And if you don't contract those amounts to be anything reasonable for you, it's not gonna help you as a hospital.
And we're in a default pay right now with most of our contracts. That's another reason you're getting paid only a certain amount when you're billing out a large amount. And I do have Heather Ball's name from United Healthcare if anybody wants to
She's
see
no longer
her.
over it.
Yeah, we actually have another one.
We
It's
have-
a session of
we
program.
have-
3 different ones since her.
We had to make a claim to the insurance commission on her.
We actually have a project, 2 projects that are opening. One that my girl started 2 months ago that completed last week, which brought in, I think, $7,000 or $8,000. It was coming through, you'll see it soon, but a project that she had worked on herself. It was just a little minute odd claims from that same issue that is now resolved. However, the other hundreds that are sitting out there, she's having to go through individually and start new projects.
So we covered pretty much everything, and you girls have anything else you want to say? I mean, I'd heard that you've been sick, maybe?
I've been pretty
Kids,
sick.
but anyway, then you made this trip up the river. I do it all the time. I don't think nothing about it, but I appreciate you coming up and explaining some of this stuff. Now, a lot of it's over my head, so that's what I have to trust you guys, and I do trust him. Believe me, I've known Greg all my life, and if he trusts you, I do. So, without anything, is there anything else? I guess I told the card, anybody around the table, we'd wait till the last minute for comments. Has anybody else got any comments maybe you need to? employees, anybody else?
I have one thing, Greg. The comment was made that you felt like these ladies were attacked. I don't know you ladies from Adam's House Cat.
So you never met them?
Right.
Should've
Like
introduced.
they were attacked last night, and it somewhat seems so, but I feel like the very same thing has happened to Dr. Siddiqui and his
It
staff
happens,
tonight.
both sides.
That's not fair. I mean, you said they should have been here to defend themselves, so should he.
Well,
So,
now, he got
I
to
mean, I don't
defend.
think all this discussion should be taking place one-sided.
Right, but he got to defend himself last night, Mitch. I mean, every time we did
But
discussion. he
you,
did
as the
discussion.
chairman, said that wasn't fair to them.
It wasn't last night.
Well, do you think what's happened tonight's been fair to him?
His
I'm just
nothing
saying.
hadn't heard. Yeah, I understand.
It's, I mean, if it's fair on one side, it's fair on the other. I mean, I don't know.
And I figured he would be here. I mean, I didn't know what was happening on that end of it. So.
Well, to my way of thinking, since no one was here, we shouldn't be discussing the ER contract.
Well, when you do that, in my opinion, now this is just my opinion, when we've done ER contracts, we've had, the last time we done it, we had 3 or 4 different ones. They sent in their bid and stuff. He was the only one that got to say his piece about the ER. The other guys didn't get to say anything. So at that time, the board, it wasn't a good fight. It was a hard fight. It wasn't a complete thing that he got the contract. But that's the biggest problem I had with him. He was on the board, and he get to sit there and cry all about what he's done and why he deserves it. And then when the vote come up, he gets to leave. Where these other guys, they didn't get to say why they deserved it.
And
So-
that doesn't seem fair to the other guys, but
Yeah, but that's what I'm
that
saying.
was before my time.
So
and-
basically, whenever
and he
we
was-
do.
I mean, he was allowed to be here for whatever reason, I don't know.
Right, but any of these, if we bid these out anymore, and if they all come in, they'll all get that changed, but really, when the board sits down to discuss, we don't really need none of them in here. Anybody that's in, I mean, we can talk to them individually, but when the time comes to
Yeah,
vote,
and I think
we
that's
just
that's
need
for us to discuss as
Yeah.
a board at some point when we get ready for that point. I'm
If-
just saying,
if it's up to
the
the
very
board
same
to
thing
do it.
happened to him and his staff tonight that you say happened to these ladies last night.
Right,
And I don't think it's fair either way.
yeah. And that's a lot of that happens, Mitchell. It's, you know, you're learning that as you've been here. You're probably thinking, what am I doing? But in the meantime, I appreciate you taking the chance, because I know you have knowledge of financials. I know Frank does, Anna does, and that was something I think me and Kathy were talking about last night after the meeting. And it makes sense, but she had an idea that if we had a financial committee, maybe with you and Frank being in the banking, and if you teamed up with Anna, you could actually look at the numbers, and then we trust you guys to, that's three good minds right there that financially sound, that could really probably be a benefit to this board. Now, I don't know
And
if
I'm
you-
not trying to create anything,
I know.
I just think
Yeah, and
both nights was not fair to the other side.
it hadn't.
I do want to apologize if we stepped across the line. It did bother us that we weren't involved last night, because I do think we should.
And you know he would feel the same way about tonight, because he wasn't here tonight to defend himself.
I'll
I
be
heard everything
glad
from-
to sit down with him any day.
And that's fine, but it should happen.
I totally
I mean,
agree.
it should not be
I'll
discussed
definitely
in an
agree.
open meeting, one-sided.
If you guys ever want to sit us down with him, just like I jumped on the car and came with him, we came today, we'll do it again.
Well, and then, like last night when we had this other meeting, didn't see a need for him to be here last night, but when it come up and the way everything get going toward our baling company and how bad they were doing and just one thing or another, I felt like they needed to be here. I didn't contact them, but I didn't have a problem with them being here, so.
And I don't have a big problem with them being here at all.
Well, I mean, they're doing a service for us, we need to know
Absolutely.
where they're at, and they need to know if we're happy with them, if we're not, and go forward on that note, so. I don't know, they took on an undertaking, and, you know, they could, I don't know that we didn't really do a contract with guys, did we? What did we end up doing? How did we did, okay, I couldn't remember how it worked, but in the meantime, don't quit us yet,
You got it.
you know, and, hopefully we keep seeing good results, and like I said, from what I'm seeing, you're billing everything you're getting. And
I did bring
what
this
more can we do?
over with when Brandy brought it. It's full of non-emergent cases
That's
that
actually
we're
what Anna
having
has.
to adjust off.
That's what Anna has, I think.
I think you
So
have
Anna's,
it too.
we've done got a couple, okay. I didn't know if you brought that for us or not. lot, so,
I mean, she
Sure,
can,
there's more,
Yeah.
but this was what she had already sent Anna.
and that's a lot.
no, that's just some random ones, that's not everything.
That's not.
And if we hadn't have voted to do that, and the board and everybody agreeing, and medical staff too, then it wouldn't, we might not have, but that's what everybody agreed to do. So we was all on the same page about it should be done. It's amazing how we've all got that short mind of forgetting what happened yesterday. And we've got so much going on, it's hard to remember from meeting to meeting. But I appreciate everybody being here, I appreciate it being a calm meeting, I don't wanna be a butt, I don't wanna drag nobody out of here, I don't wanna even have to call Kevin or Robbie or
Chairman,
nobody
can
to be
I
here.
say, you know, they talked about offering classes or whatever for ER or doctors or whatever. Should that be offered again?
I would say, from my understanding, they would be willing to do it anytime. You know, I know they're busy, they've got work, but still yet, they'd have to set it up somehow, but
That's gonna eliminate half the issues. I would rather sit on the front side and train somebody. I don't have all the answers,
no.
but I can stop some of this.
And not only, you know, it might not be a bad idea if they did it for some of us board members to set in on it. We would probably learn and understand a lot more about it.
I think you
Because
would.
when you don't fully understand something, and I'm one of them, and it happens, I'm sure I'm talking about the same way, but when you don't fully understand it, people are gonna talk, and if you don't have the right information, you're not gonna say the right thing, and next thing you know, I know I probably said stuff that I probably shouldn't have said, because I didn't know what I was talking about, or didn't have the right information, and that's one lady, I told Miss Love yesterday I didn't return her call, because I didn't know what to say, and rather than say the wrong thing, I would rather just not say it. I apologize for not returning her call to let her know that, but that's what I'm trying to do. My shoe don't taste very well. I step a lot of dirt during the day, so I try not to put my feet in my mouth. But in the meantime, if nothing else is, if everybody's fine and we have nothing else, everybody good as of right now. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion?
Okay, I start saying, you just got some action I'm talking about. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Need a roll call on that, Ms. B? Or do we want?
Sure.
Okay, do a roll call.
Good motion.
Okay. We're past it, but we can't get used to it.
Doug,
Yes.